Welcome to the Art Lady's home. Today is a quick version of a pasta sauce, and I'm going to start off with a base of an organic portobello mushroom sauce, and I'm going to add to this to stretch it, and I'm going to add vegetables to this. I'm going to be adding mushrooms, onions, peppers, and I also have some yellow squash I'll cut up and add to the stir fry. And once I cook that, then I'll go ahead and add some textured vegetable protein to this mixture. But I wanted to show you the ingredients I'm starting out with, and I've got some spices here: basil, cumin, oregano, and I'm also going to put in a bunch of cloves of fresh garlic as well. So these are the basic quick ingredients that I will be doctoring up the spaghetti sauce with. I threw in the peppers and onions to start this quick and easy sauce. And now I'm just sauteing the mushrooms. And as this is sauteing, I am going to throw in my spices. And I'm going to use a pretty big heaping of basil. And you can use any kind of Italian seasonings if you'd like. I love herbes de Provence as well. This is oregano. I'm going to use a heaping teaspoon of oregano. I'm going to throw in some cumin. Gives it a little meaty flavor. Probably half a teaspoon of cumin. That way it gets flavored in. I like adding my spices so it coats the vegetables. This is cooked over medium heat right now. I threw in a couple of teaspoons of oil just so that it doesn't stick. But my pan is non-stick, so I don't have to worry too much. And the juices are frying, causing it to fry. It's on up to number 4 on my stove here. And so I'm going to cook them to tender. Not too much though. I want this to be more of a vegetable. I don't want the vegetables to disintegrate. I just want this to be a quick sauce tonight. Now I'm going to throw in that yellow squash. Cut up the yellow squash right now and throw it into the pot. I've made a little well in the center now, and I'm going to throw in my yellow squash. You can put in any kind of vegetables. This is just what I had in the fridge that I wanted to use up, this little squash here. This was just one little yellow squash. Before the week is out, when I go back to the market, farmer's market on the weekend, I like to use up the old. And so I'm just going to saute that. I'm going to put a little bit of water in there because I'm getting kind of dry here. Just a dash of water to kind of steam fry, what I call. Right in here. And you can see how I kind of pushed this peppers, onions, mushroom mixture to the side. Now, if you had it all cut up at the same time, you could throw it all in at the same time. I just like to cook as I'm cutting up, just so that I can do it faster. I already had the onions and peppers cut up from yesterday. I cut them up and keep them in little baggies in the fridge. I threw in about a cup of onions, cup of peppers, and then I used the entire package of mushrooms. And this is going to make a nice flavor for the textured vegetable protein in here. That's why I love a lot of mushrooms. Those were the portobello mushrooms. This is looking great. Now, you can even eat this the way it is. This is delicious, just like this. But I'm going to turn it into my sauce. I want to add these vegetables to that sauce so that this is our vegetable content. And then I'm going to measure out the water and the textured vegetable protein as soon as this finishes cooking. I want that squash to be tender right there. I've got a pretty good sized amount of garlic. We love it extra garlicky, so I'm going to put a bunch of these, and this is just the tiny heart of the garlic. And I'm going to throw in some bigger cloves here. There's a few bigger cloves, but this is like the heart of it in the center. So I'm going to throw in all of this. Now I'm going to show you how I do this. I just have this handheld garlic press, and I found this is pretty quick and easy here on my garlic press. And I just throw them in. I don't have to peel them with this type of a press. I just throw them in the center and just squish it right out. Oops, oh, I wanted to show you it. It kind of went flying. Just squish it right out like that. And then I just take my knife and it squishes right through the press. Then you just lift up and remove the skin. So it's very fast. I try and find everything to be time efficient because I don't want to spend a lot of time cooking, especially once I start back to work, which is next week. Squeeze, and then you're done. So this is a quick way of doing a sauce. I also have another video that shows you how to make pasta sauce from scratch, and that's more involved because you're cutting up lots of things, but this is just the quick weekday version of a pasta sauce. When I do that, I like to make a lot of it, and that way I freeze it. And that's how I do my garlic, which is pretty fast. And then I'll do one more. And you can put as much garlic in to taste, but again, we love garlic. Just, it's really good for you too. And that's simmering up nice. So this only took a few minutes to really simmer these vegetables. Oh my gosh, the garlic just makes it so amazing. Wow. That's delish right there. This would be great on a sandwich smothered in imitation cheese, because we don't do dairy at our house, so some imitation cheese. We've just our newly vegan household, so we got rid of our dairy, but this is delicious. This smells delish, just like that. What I've done is I've made a little well in the center, and I've pushed all of my vegetables to the side, and I put a cup of water, a little over a cup of water, right to the top of the measuring cup. And I'm boiling this water and getting it ready for the textured vegetable protein. And you can see this nice brown juices here. All of this is going to flavor in to the vegetable, textured vegetable protein. So now I'm adding my cup of textured vegetable protein. And I'm adding it right to my boiling water. I'm going to reduce my heat down. I bumped my heat up to 6 while it was boiling. Now I'm going to reduce my heat down and rehydrate this textured vegetable protein here. That way it's hydrating in the center. Now this pan is great. I love this pan. I'll talk about that in a second. It is a huge pan, and I like cooking with this. This pan is, just in case you're interested, it's about 14.5 inches wide. I like cooking in it because I can push things to the side, as you can see here, and it just cooks really well like that. I have a lot of room to make my sauces and things in. And this is hydrating that textured vegetable protein. You can see how it's absorbing all the juices. And then I'm going to stir fry that in a minute with everything, now that it's hydrated. I want to get it a little crispy. I don't want these to be really soggy. I'm treating this like a ground beef here. I'm going to throw in a little bit of seasoning right on top of it too. I'll sprinkle in a little bit of sea salt right on top of that. And then I do want some pepper in here too. A little bit of pepper. Just a sprinkling. Oh wait, that was wrong. Grab the parsley instead. Where is my pepper? There's some black pepper right in there. This is a cracked black pepper. And now the flavors of all those vegetables and the portobello mushrooms are going to come into my textured vegetable protein. I kind of want to crisp it up a little. I'm going to turn up the heat and stir fry it a little bit as I go. I've cooked this so that all the water is out. I wanted to give it a little bit of browning on the textured vegetable protein. Ooh, got a lot of steam there. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my stewed tomatoes to this. And I'm leaving the liquids in the stewed tomatoes. That's a lot of stewed tomatoes. You don't have to add this much. Like I said, I want to really stretch this up. I like it with a lot of tomatoes because they're so healthy for you. There. You could even use it just the way this is as your sauce, but I have that jar that's pretty good with that organic stuff. It's not a full jar. That's why I'm doctoring it up here. Right there. And I'm going to simmer that up so the flavors all go together. Probably about 20-30 minutes. I'm going to prepare my pasta while it's waiting. I put a little bit of water in the jar and I'm just shaking it to add to this. There. And I'm going to simmer that 25-30 minutes while I make my pasta and get everything else ready for the dinner. And that's basically how you can doctor up a jar sauce and make it a little bit healthier. Right there, it's pretty thick. It's nice and thick here. And I'll show you the finished product next. Well, the water for the pasta is just about to boil, but I did want to show you some spices that I added to this. Everybody has their own tolerances for spices. So when I cook, I always start with very little spice. And then when it's almost done, like here, then I can throw in some more spices and adjust to it as I need it. I did need to add a couple teaspoons of sugar to this because it was a bit acidic because of the canned tomatoes. So you can adjust it if you need it. You don't have to add the sugar. It's optional. But let me show you from my spice drawers here what I did add to this. I added, of course, more oregano, more cumin, just a little bit more. And then I added more basil. I added some onion powder. I put in some herbes de Provence, like I mentioned before. And this has a little bit of the sea salt with it. I added more oregano to it. Now this is just according to my tastes. People may like less seasoning and spice. I just like a lot of spices in mine. And then I used the rest of my oregano, basil, tomato spice blend, and there's more basil there. So those are the spices that I put in here. The herbes de Provence has a little bit of mixture of everything, and that's just a great spice to have. I added about a teaspoon of that. But you can add your spices according, but like I said, I always taste as I'm going along and then add the spices as I go, little bits at a time so that I don't ruin the whole pot of something. Because every time I cook it's different because I'm using different amounts of vegetables and things that I add to the sauces. So that's a good rule of thumb to follow. We are about to sit down and have our dinner, and I wanted to show you what it looked like when it's all done and prepared. We're serving it with some fried eggplant that we did yesterday, and I just put it in the toaster oven and put some Daya cheese on top. And then I'm also serving it with some of this delicious garlic rosemary bread, loaded with extra garlic that I made yesterday as well. And I'll be making a video on how I do that. That's one of my favorite breads, garlic rosemary. But this is a nice, hearty, thick vegetable sauce that tastes delicious and pairs well with your sliced eggplants. So I hope you enjoy the recipe and let me know in the comments how you made it. I wanted to show you the giant leftover bowl. That was quite a bit of sauce that I made. And I want to show you how beautiful, rich, and delicious the sauce is over this. Right here, it's real thick. It coats this nicely, and it tasted absolutely delicious. And my teenager said it's his #1 favorite vegan meal. So it passed the kid test. This is going to make great lunches, though. I'm going to freeze up some of this for me for my school lunch, because we're going to start school next week. So I'll put a couple of spoonfuls in a plastic freezer baggie as soon as it cools, and it'll be ready for my lunch. You know, within the next couple of weeks I'll be able to eat it at lunch at school. But this is great for fridge. We'll keep it in the fridge for a few days, and then whatever's not left over I'll freeze. So I hope you enjoy the recipe, and bon appetit!